we would have like this cheer up ritual before we go
Like
on
the
stage.
scrum?
Yeah, the 1, 2, 3 proxy. But I love hugging. I love hugging my friends.
Let's do some X-ray for each of the member.
We actually had a fight like yesterday.
Really?
I kind of like do him. I feel like one of the obstacles is the age variation. My dad would try to break me through my comfort zone by telling me to call like the staff when we go on like restaurants. พี่ครับเช็คบิลครับ I couldn't do that.
Really?
I was like ไม่กล้าสุดๆเลยอะ
Okay. This is Comedy Featuring. My name is Vic and welcome to the show. And today we have GORN PROXIE. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับสวัสดีพี่เบียร์ครับสวัสดีครับ
Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
And it's our honor to have you on the show. And is this your first full English interview, by the way?
It is my first individual interview and my first English interview too.
Oh, thank you so much
So
for
nervous
giving
right
Well, but I can tell at all that you're nervous. Oh, but you are actually.
I am actually very
Okay,
nervous.
and you're very good at covering it.
Thank you.
So, but a little nervous can be good for you, right? Like when you go on the show, when you go on the stage.
Yeah, a little.
Do you feel a little nervous? It could. You
All
can
the
channel
time.
that into the energy.
Yeah, it can be like an adrenaline rush.
Ooh, yeah.
When I go on shows and now an interview. Yeah.
Good. And actually, you're here because a lot of your fans ask us to invite you on the show, and they follow you and they support you and they say great things about you, and they wanted so much for you to come here. So thanks to them,
thank
you're
you so
here,
much.
and we are so glad that you give us time.
My pleasure.
Okay. All right. So let's get going.
Sure.
All right. So how do you spell your name in English, by the way?
It's GORN.
GORN?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a new thing that we're trying out today, and you're the first one who is trying this new format. We call it like the acronym interview. So we're gonna take your name, like letter by letter, and then we're gonna be talking about whatever is related to that later. So let's start with G. GORN. And of course, we can start with your name, GORN, right?
Sure.
So everybody knows who you are right now. You're GORN PROXIE. But who were you before you became GORN PROXIE?
I'm no different actually. I think I was living my life as just like how a typical teenager, typical boy would do. I am an only child. I grew up in a family consisting of 3. It was my mom, my dad, and I. And yeah, it was warm and I really didn't have any like major struggle when I was a kid.
So you're close with your family?
Yeah, I am very close to my family.
Okay, so what would you guys do together as a family?
We would have this like dinner together every
nice.
single day actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Back in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you still do have like occasional dinner now, or still
Occasional,
always?
but not so frequent as we did in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. But that sounds great, like family dinner.
Family dinner.
What could beat that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you a good student?
I was pretty naughty, I think.
You really?
I wasn't that like good student that sits in front of the class. I was kind of like one of the boys at the back of the class.
Oh, the back row
Yeah, the back
students.
row.
Okay. All right. So what did you do in class? Sitting in the back row.
To be honest, I think I spent more time in school like doing activities more than I did on like focusing on like lectures and stuff like that. And I have to apologize to my friends, to my classmates, because sometimes we get really like noisy in class and quite can be like disruptive to the class. Yeah.
Okay, so you were a student, you were a family member.
Family member.
And how are you as a friend?
A friend?
Yeah. How are you as a friend? Are you a good friend? Are you a what kind of friend you are?
Well, I think I am a good friend. Like I love my friends. In school, we had this like group of boys. Actually, my school was quite like we all knew each other back then. So everyone was close to each other, and I was that friendly man, I think.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh, let's do obsession.
Sure.
What are you obsessed with nowadays?
Nowadays,
Yeah.
I think my obsessions change quite frequently.
Yeah?
But now I find myself to spend a lot of time browsing through like watches. Like I love looking at watches.
Oh, okay.
Especially like women's watches. Yeah, like
Really?
small ones. Yeah.
Okay. So why? Why the obsession with the women's watches?
Because I never thought that I would dig into watches before because I feel like it's like really an adult thing. But as I grew up, I think wearing watches like really makes you more mature, and especially when you wear women's watch, it makes you feel more soft. Like
Oh.
it's not as bold as you wear like large watches for men.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wow. So do you think it's totally okay for a guy to wear women's watches?
It's definitely totally okay.
Cool.
Because I feel like fashion nowadays there is no like line between women's and men's wear.
I
They're
agree,
all
yeah.
like unisex. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but don't they have watches originally designed for men who also has like women's feature, like softer or less bulky or something like that?
Yeah, there are watches that are like
Yeah.
less bulky and the bezel is like smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. Are you into like digital or smartwatch also?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
But I
All
love
right.
gadgets. I love technology.
Cool. So what else do you like besides watches?
Just typical things. I think I love art in general. I love
Okay.
music. I love
Cool.
Obviously. Fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fashion too. Okay. So what is the fashion item that you like swear by or you always cannot live without?
Item.
Yeah.
I think it's like bracelet or watch.
Bracelet or
Yeah.
watches. Okay.
Because I feel like my fit can be very simple daily, but when I add like accessories, it just kind of make it look better a little
Yeah.
bit.
Cool. All right. R. The letter R.
R.
So a lot of people from our Twitters ask you this kind of question a lot. Regrets. So is there anything that you regret doing or not doing in the past, and how did you get over those regrets?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Regrets. I feel like everyone makes mistakes sometimes, and I also made a lot of mistakes back then. But I am pretty sure that when I do something, I really have to make sure of like the risk and the consequences. So the mistakes I made in the past could be like a good learning lesson more than I would like regret today. So I don't think I regret anything. And I believe in this thing called butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Like it says like if there is like a small change in the past, it can affect the future like very significantly. So I feel like if I change a little bit of my past, then I wouldn't be the same Gorn I am today.
Yeah, you wouldn't be you today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means you're pretty happy with the way or the person you are today, right?
Yeah, I'm quite
Yeah.
grateful of where I am now. Yeah.
That's so cool. So not all the bad things in the past that you might or might not regret, it could be a good thing if you take it as a lesson.
Yep.
That's so cool. All right. So let's go to N. So did you what school did you go to?
Oh, I went to NIVA International School
NIVA
in Bangkok.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about your school. If I give you like one bragging right about your school, what do you want to brag about this school?
I don't really brag a lot, so I'm not good at this. Okay, so NIVA was the school I grew up in. I joined since like middle school, and a lot of things happened there. We played like in festivals, we would play music performance, and I was in the basketball team.
Wow.
So one thing, if I were to choose one thing, then it would be our basketball team.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like the best team in the league or anything like that, but all I did back then was playing basketball, like every break times, and we had like drills and practice after school, and I spent a lot of time with my friends in the team. And one thing I'd like to brag about is one of my teammates, one of my best friends actually is now in the Thailand's national team.
Wow.
Yeah, he introduced me to basketball in like grade 7 and now he's like going big. Yeah.
Wow. So he's a real deal.
He's a real deal.
Wow. Good for him. So are you super competitive when it comes to like playing basketball or sport or anything at all?
Quite a bit, yeah. I feel like when I do things, I really want it to go well. But if I lose or anything like that, then I don't get mad. It's fine. But I just try to do my best in things. Yeah.
So how do you cope with losing?
I think it just has to be like a nature where you have to accept anything that doesn't go the way you expect it to be like. Yeah. But we were losing quite a lot back then because I was a point guard because like I was the smallest in the team and in the class too. But somehow I grew pretty quickly.
Okay. You're the quickest too, right?
I guess so.
Okay, so because the world nowadays is like you have to race, you have to win, you have to grab things, you have to grab like all the opportunities. And I think new generation people nowadays, they kind of have this kind of pressure, you know, like if I don't win and then I lose and then I cannot go on. So do you want to say something to those people who lose quite a lot like you used to in the game of basketball, but in real life?
I feel like it's quite a big stress if we live just to race with other people. I think the first thing we should do is to not compare ourselves to other people. We actually compete with ourselves. That sounds cliche, but it's actually true. And I think losing is fine. Losing makes people like better at their stuff too. Like if you don't lose, then you don't know your weakness. So you learn your weakness from losing and then improve and then just hustle, spend a lot of time on that thing. And one day, even if you lose again, then so what?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, that's a great answer. It's like you have to train yourself to be good at losing. And then nobody wins forever and nobody loses forever. You have to just like balance between the two. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay, so now that we're done with your name, GORN, let's go to another name that is very important to you, Proxie. I heard that you came up with this name.
Yeah, I did came up with
that
this
name.
name.
That is so cool. And also the spelling is
the
also
spelling was our idea. Like
okay.
Yeah, because we had 6 members and Proxie like originally it was spelled like PROXY, the one I came up. But I think it was Pikan that came up with the idea of changing the spelling.
Make it 6.
Make it 6 so it was cooler.
Cool. Yeah.
It was also, I'm not sure if it was like a coincidence, but my family started a business like when I was young, right? And then I named it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're very good at naming stuff.
I guess so.
Okay, so what did you name your family business?
Oh, we did like a coffee business, so I named it Hey Coffee.
Hey Coffee?
Hey Coffee, like HEY.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So cool. And now you get to name the name of your
the
band.
band.
Okay. Proxie, what's the story behind the name?
I was a huge gamer. Back then, I was like really addicted. And we had a chance to brainstorm about like name of our group. And it had to be like around the topic of like technologies.
Wow.
And due to the fact that I was playing games a lot in computer, I heard the name like Proxie a lot. I didn't really know the meaning, but it was kind of cool. Like back then, any word that had the letter X or Z in it
Oh, of course,
would
yeah.
sound cool. And then we just looked up on Google the meaning behind proxy, and the meaning is really, really good. It's like
Which is?
Proxy in technology is like a medium between the server to connect with user. And so we use that like as an analogy in our band that we are like a medium that connect something with our fans, which the name of our fandom is user too. So we like Yeah.
Very well thought out, and it works and fits perfectly too.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about your band. So when six guys came together as a band, was there any like? Is it that everybody kind of get like love and like each other, like right away, or was there any like friction at the first, and then you have to adjust to work well together? What was it like?
It was quite smooth because we all had experience together in a show called The Brothers Thailand. There were 20 boys back then, so we kind of spent a lot of time together back then. We like would go on ต่างจังหวัด together. We go on meals together. So we kind of knew each other before becoming proxy. But I feel like one of the obstacles is the age variation, because our youngest member is like only like 18 and our oldest member is like 26, I think.
Almost 10 years, like
Yeah,
8 years
almost 10 years.
difference.
But when we started together, before debut, we trained for like a year or two. So, like for example, I wasn't really close with P Kim back then because I was quite young and P Kim is like really mature. And somehow, I'm not sure whether it's like me growing up to P Kim or P
Yeah.
Kim being younger to me. Like, yeah. So now
Maybe
we're just
it's like
family.
two-way.
It's
Yeah,
like two
that-
ways. So
yeah.
we're not like a.
That's nice. But was it a surprise to you, or was it expected that this is the six guys that will become proxy?
It was quite surprising actually because I don't think we started from like the same place, because some people had like basics on dancing, some people were good on like at singing, and some weren't at all. So it was like we started at different points, but as a group we have to like kind of blend as one energy. So that was quite like a struggle at first, but now I think we're all blended together.
Yeah, I think everybody is happy that is six of you together as proxy right now, and you have fun together and you create a lot of fun for fans too. Okay, so that's the letter P, proxy. Let's go R.
R.
I want to ask you about some ritual as a band or as yourself. Do you have any sort of ritual before going on stage or whenever at all?
I think, let me start with myself.
Okay.
My ritual, I think, like in the past, my ritual is to get back home and clean up the mess that my dogs make.
Okay.
Yeah, but now that I'm more busy, so I focus more on like the two things that I'm doing, which is like they're both full time, like studying and working. Yeah, that's my ritual. But as a band, we would have like this cheer up ritual before we go. We go
Like
on
the
stage.
scrum?
Yeah, the 1, 2, 3 proxy. That
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
That kind of gives you the ความแบบฮึกเหิม
Yeah, ความฮึกเหิม
Like, oh, okay, we're going on the stage and then we're gonna get it.
Yeah, because we're usually pretty nervous before we get on stage, especially in shows that are new that we haven't showed before. So that would like help flush things away and just YOLO go on stage and like bam.
Who came up with it, or it just came naturally?
It's one of the bigger brothers, P Kim or P Kan. They are the ones who like 1, 2, 3.
I see.
But I love hugging. I love hugging my friends. So I would like initiate the hugging part. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let's go O. The letter O. It's pretty hard to pronounce, I guess. Obstetrician.
Obstetrician.
Yeah, because we came across this word when doing research about you, of course. So obstetrician is kind of a doctor.
Yeah.
That you once said in the interview, or maybe so many times, that you want to be, right? Why? Why obstetrician? And what is it? Firstly, for
First, obstetrician. It is a like a specialty of medicine that is focused on like children, or it usually comes with OBGYN, obstetrician and gynecologist.
Right.
Yeah, so also focus on women. Yeah, so it started when back then when my mom she was fighting cancer, and I really had spent a lot of time in hospital, and there was this doctor that took care of my mom. He was an OBGYN, and I kind of looked up to him because somehow I felt like he was different from all other doctors, because dealing with like kids and women, you have to be like soft and like quite caring, sensitive, and things like that. So it inspired me. That moment also like sparked my interest in becoming a doctor as well. But really, I'm still in second year of medical school, so I'm still not sure of where I would like to go yet.
Okay.
So yeah.
But it is a good thing that you have a good place to start and think about what you want to become, because this person affect your life immensely, or kind of change the way you look at things. That is so nice. Yeah, but it could be something else because you're still very young in your like study, right? So when do you gonna when is it the time that you will pick like the major? Yeah.
I would have to finish my 7 years of Patsat Bandit or like bachelor first, and then after that we can get to choose. Yeah.
Okay, so you still have like four or 5 years to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so whatever you choose, I think is going to be the best for you too. Yeah. Okay, the X. I agree with you that whatever have the X in the name, it sounds like impactful and strong and fun to say out loud. So for the X, let's do some X-ray for each of the member of your band. Okay, who do you want to start?
I can start with the youngest member.
Okay, Victor. Okay, all right. So what when we take an X-ray and like look at the film, what do you see inside of Victor?
This is actually quite difficult because Victor is really hard to like.
Oh, hard to see through. Wow.
Yeah, he's very deep. But I think if I were to choose one thing, I would choose a book.
Oh, okay.
Because
so on his X-ray film, you would see books.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a big reader?
He's not really a reader, but I feel like books symbolizes like learning.
I see.
And he's like me, like our obsessions change quite often, but when he likes something, he really digs into it.
Wow.
Like I think now he's into like watches, photography, and chairs, like interior design.
What, chairs? Oh,
like
I
chairs,
see.
like
okay.
He would like stare at chairs and like,สวยจัง
yeah, like designer's chair and stuff.
When we go to cafes, he would just like read books about chairs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. Okay. And okay, who's next?
Ong Lee.
Okay. So when we take a look at Ong Lee's X-ray film, what do we see?
I think I see like a family photo.
Why?
I really respect him as a person. Actually, he's very loving. I feel like he really gives that importance of family. Like he loves his mom and his brothers so much, and I think he's like now like the head of the family too. So he's doing things for the family.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
That's
okay.
cute.
All right. Who's next?
Shogun.
Okay. What would appear on Shogun's X-ray film?
I think I would see a teddy bear. In Shogun's X-ray. Yeah.
Why? Why is that?
Like externally, when you look at him, he's like positive and cute. But I feel like sometimes he can be very like sensitive and can be pretty easily influenced by other people. Like a toy.
Okay.
But not a bad thing.
But in a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're pretty close with Chogun too.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Close.
Don't you have anything else to say about him, like besides?
We actually had a fight like yesterday.
Really? Okay.
Oh, but proxy, we don't really have like big fights.
Yeah.
But we have fights like over like little small things.
Yeah.
He was asking for my my kids for cleaning up my makeup, and then no, I never refused to let him borrow, right? But I said I kind of like do him. I was like ก็บอกกี่รอบแล้วว่าให้มาเอามาเองอะไรเงี้ย and he was like ไม่เอาแล้วก็ได้แล้วก็ no it was fine we're good now.
Okay, so it's like this all the time. Actually, it's healthy to
Yeah, it's
have
healthy.
this kind of things too in the relationship with all your friends, right?
กรและโชกุนตีกันตลอด
เป็นที่รู้กัน
ใช่
Okay, all right. And I think a lot of fans live for that too. Like, okay, so it's another fun fight happening between Gon and Kun.
Proxie.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, who's next? How about
Kim.
the big brother? Okay.
Yeah, Kim. I think in an X-ray film, a tablet would show for Kim.
That tablet?
A tablet, like his own tablet. I can't say the brand, but
Okay. All right. Why?
Because he really loves like gadgets. Like he loves to watch like reviews of like phones, tablets, like earphones, headphones, and something like that. And every time that I enter the room, when we're not in practice, Kim would be watching movies in his tablet. Yeah. So that's like the ภาพจำ Kim.
So it's like glued to his hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And the last one, I
Last
think.
one. พี่กัน
Pikan.
พี่กัน is quite hard. I think I'd say a clock.
A clock?
A clock.
Okay. Why?
พี่กัน is very very punctual. Like he's very sharp with time.
Never late.
Never late. That's a good thing, but sometimes being a little too strict about things can be like not that good. I mean, it's good. Like it's a good trait of Pikan, but like sometimes when he takes lunch at like 12 o'clock straight. So if it's like some time other than 12 o'clock, then he wouldn't be eating.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right. So punctual with his own routine.
With his own
himself
routine.
too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And another thing is he's really responsible. Like he has this like Invisalign thing on his teeth, right? And then there is like a rubber band that he needs to put on. He never takes it off. Even in like interviews or like in like shooting, he would. If it's not that necessary, then he would not take it off. That's cute. I love you, Pikan.
Okay, so now that we are done with all the members from Proxie, so they're idols, I want to know about your own idol. Okay, besides your friends, besides people who maybe you see on regular basis, do you have any idols that you look up to or want to meet, want to be like?
I think I admire a lot of people, but each person has their own good and bad side. So I choose to look up to like the good side of it because I think in the internet right now, when you search up like who does Gorn look up to, like who's Gorn's idol, it would be someone. But there was like a controversy about it because like that man, like personally, sometimes he just doesn't do like good things. But yeah, just to tell you guys that I kind of choose things to look up to. But the first name that comes up to my mind is my dad, actually. Big idol because as I grew up, I look up to him a lot because he's a clever man and he's really hardworking. He's very punctual, very responsible, and I feel like he always sees things in a big picture, bigger than I can see right now in my position. So, like when I was 10, we were having like conversations about like business investments and money management and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and he back then I felt like it was quite like he forced me to go to like swimming classes and something like that. But now I regret not going to swimming classes. Like he would give me opportunities a lot since I was a kid, and now when I grew up, I see the benefits of it. So that's a big picture but he doesn't really put pressure on me.
Okay.
Yeah, he supports me a lot.
I'm really amazed by the way your dad talked to you at the age of 10 about money and investment because that's not very usual in our like Thai families, especially for kids because sometimes adults would look at the kid and say things like, oh, this is not the time yet for you to understand how money works. But your dad talked to you at the age of 10 about money.
Yeah.
So looking back, how do you feel about that?
It was quite fun actually. He bought me books about like wealth and things like that.
Okay.
And
did you ever ask him why do you have to talk to me about this? Do you want me to get rich or what? Why?
Not really. I didn't really question a lot because we were a small family. So like I was there when my dad and my mom did like business. I was always there when they start new branch of Hey Coffee and things like that. So I see why we're doing this because it's really important. But not just money, but like things like music and even academics like เรียนพิเศษ and everything like that. He would always he wouldn't say no for that.
Yeah, this is so nice because you are always involved with what your family does, and you guys talk about like things, and it's also a learning experience for you too. This is so nice. It is so cool of your dad to do that. All right. Okay. So the last letter of the word proxy is E. And I want to talk to you so much about your English. Of course, that everybody can see that your English is fluent and you're very good at expressing and giving opinions in English. And how did your English become so good?
I haven't been using English since I finished high school. So I apologize if it's like a little bit broken right now. But to learn a language, I think you have to put yourself in the position where you kind of you can use it every single day. Yeah. So I understand that in Thailand, like English is not like our first language, but I think nowadays we have like technologies. Everything is on internet, and most of people can have access to internet. So to learn English, I think it's like easier. We have podcasts, we have movies, we have shows like คำนี้ดี
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah, we have things like that, and when you pair up with something you like, it's actually easier to learn too.
I think that's the key. That's not even a secret, but you can see that if you can pair whatever that you want to learn with what you already like, you can do that like a lot better than trying to force yourself to do something that you're not into at all. Okay, so like GORN PROXIE, what do you pair learning English with?
Learning English. When I joined international school in grade 7, I don't think I could communicate with people at all. Like I tend to get really nervous in speaking because I can't really understand what my teachers say.
And this is like the language barrier only.
Yeah.
But what are you like if you get to speak Thai? Are you still shy?
I was really shy. I was really timid when I was a kid. Like my dad would try to break me through my comfort zone by telling me to call like the staff when we go on like restaurants for check.
I see.
It was
he let
really
you
difficult.
say
พี่ครับเช็คบิลครับ I couldn't do that.
Really?
I was like ไม่กล้าสุดๆเลย
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And public speaking was a big no for me.
Okay.
But I think the key is to start doing something. First is to know your comfort zone. Like to know that okay, you're nervous because you're in your comfort zone, and what you can do is to break out of it. So start from tiny things to break out of your comfort zone. If you're nervous on like speaking English, then find like someone comfortable to speak with first, not like a stranger, and that could help.
Yeah. How long did it take you to be comfortable with speaking in English?
I feel like it took me like quite a while. It took me like a year.
Okay. So by the grade 8 or 9, you're okay with
Like
using
grade
English?
8 and 9, yeah, I was okay, but not fluent. But
Okay.
A big step up for me was when I studied for IELTS, actually.
Ah.
Yeah, for IELTS test.
Okay. Something that pushes you to
Yeah.
do better. Okay. All right. That is so nice. Okay. And I think this could inspire a lot of people to break out of the comfort zone and just do something about it. If you just wish you are better, it's not going to happen. You have to do something.
Do something.
Okay. All right. So what you and Proxy have for plans for the future? Do you have anything in the pipeline right now that you're cooking up?
We're always cooking something up.
Yeah.
But I just want you guys to keep following our official accounts in Proxy in all social media platforms because I can't really say a thing right now, but it's very interesting and we're really excited to.
A little hint, maybe is it something that you've done before or totally new?
A lot of new things are happening in this year and yeah, it's gonna be fun for all of us.
Okay. All right. And that was GORN PROXIE, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.
ขอบคุณมากครับ Thank you for having me ครับ If I made any mistake then I'm so sorry but it was so fun because I've seen the show and all the guests are like really big like they're the people who I respect and now I'm here so ขอบคุณครับขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณมากครับ
เราอยู่ในยุคแห่งความไม่รู้ คนเปลี่ยน ผู้นำต้องเปลี่ยน The Invisible Leader ผู้นำล่องหน คู่มือผู้นำและนักธุรกิจแห่งศตวรรษ 21 โดยผมเคนนครินทร์ วรรณกิจไพบูลย์นี่คือหนังสือที่เป็นเหมือนบทสรุปการพัฒนาความเป็นผู้นำจากผู้นำตัวจริงเสียงจริง หลายร้อยชีวิตของประเทศไทยที่หาอ่านที่ไหนไม่ได้ มีเครื่องมือในการเรียนรู้ด้วยตัวเองไม่ว่าจะเป็นเช็คลิสต์ Key Takeaway Framework เหมาะสำหรับทุกคนที่อยากจะพัฒนาตัวเอง พร้อมเปลือยเบื้องหลังการปั้น The Standard ที่เต็มไปด้วยความมุ่งมั่น ความล้มเหลว รอยยิ้ม และคราบน้ำตา ที่ไม่เคยเปิดเผยที่ไหนมาก่อน เป็นเจ้าของหนังสือ The Invisible Leader ผู้นำล่องหนก่อนใครได้แล้ววันนี้ครับ